structures, like, and the trees were massive, and they would grow out of the water on mountains and all types of crazy shit. And it's like they was super connected with nature. So my question to you is does that kind of construct begin with the steps of connecting with nature? And I'm seeing that in India, because they're on pace to plant like 2.5 billion trees by 2030. And you already know that their culture has not been manipulated like how it has in the West. They've been practicing the same form of spirituality for a very long time. So the fact that they're ahead of us in regards to that, you know, I'm just saying in comparison, would you say that's one of the first steps in terms of like how I said, just planting trees, connecting with nature, growing your own food, because the food is the DNA, the food is the body? What would you say
So
to that?
all of those things is part of the process. If you go back to some of my old videos, you hear me talking about building the fruit forest, planting the fruit forest across the land again, having the children to replant the
Oh,
trees.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what you talk about in India. They already knew to start 25 years ago. We didn't know to start. We didn't know to organize it. We thought people that hug trees was insane. Right?
Mm.
Right now, we looking at the people that hugged the trees in the 80s, and they wasn't crazy at all. They was on to something frequency-wise that many of us was deluded into thinking was an insanity.
Mm. That's a
So
fact.
you on the right track of perception. You seeing what you need to see.
Yeah, and that's actually, that was a Hopi prophecy that it was like that the children, I think it said the rainbow children plant the will plant the world green or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
got to
That's beautiful. And
remember the green. When they talk about turning the world green, they also talking
heart
about
chakra,
bringing back the love.
exactly. Heart chakra energy. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. And I've had visions of that. Like I would see us like in the future, like levitating and all that types of stuff. So here's my other thing. I believe that the human body don't need no food, don't need no water, don't, because you already know that there's yogis who don't even need to breathe. So I know in terms of us going into that 5D, do you think that that's like a type of reality that we can condense into this lifetime? Because like I know that a lot of us is not going to be living 70, 80 years. Like me personally, I'm going to be, you know, I'm not really looking to set a limit on my life, you know what I'm saying? And I
You
believe that that's a
born at
good.
a time when we about to reveal technology, the healing chamber, right? The med bed. Your life gonna be extended to 1,000 years with your prime
Mm,
youth being
that's what I
able
was
to
getting to.
be restored, right? Because the body keep a record of optimum health, and when your health start to deteriorate, the stuff like cancer, that's med bed. Stuff like HIV, med bed, clear all that stuff up in a matter of 72 hours. Where you got severed spines, severed limbs, missing limbs, that's the healing chamber, and it can take up to, you could be in stasis for up to a year, repair the damage. But when you come out, you're gonna look like you've been working out and you was at your peak performance level. So that's why it's good that when, as early as possible, that you develop your peak performance condition and physical fitness as well as nutritional understanding,
Mm,
because the it's only going to read your DNA. It's not going to restore you to my levels. It's going to restore you to your own levels, and that's what's going to give you the opportunity to be able to reach up to 1,000 years.
mm,
But some people is lazy slobs, and they don't want to do nothing to optimize their health. So the best they can be is the health condition they was at an adolescent, right?
mm.
But you still have to start training the body as you go along, because physical fitness is going to be a key to maintaining longevity of health,
Mm-hmm.
right? As far as for us not eating food, we'll eventually get back to eating what's called the couscous, right? Which only used to be reserved to certain families, but the families that they usurped and overthrew was the ones who didn't agree with the only certain people can have the benefit.
Is that ormus?
Yep,
Ormus,
yep.
and they used to mix that with cannabis, right?
But the cannabis was used for spiritual. Your endocannabinoid system is where your spirit body and your physical body link, and you got
Mm.
endocannabinoid receptors all throughout your body. And by the cannabis job is to make the connection between the spirit body and the physical body more pronounced so that you can more readily ascertain spiritual information from a physical matrix.
That's a fact. And actually, I had about 2 years ago, I had visions. I've only had visions while I was awake off the cannabis. And I always I ask people why, because like I wanted to know the science, the spiritual science behind it. Like, why do I have visions where it would either be, there was like two where I didn't know if it was the future or the past, and then there was one where I like seen like some crazy stuff that I knew was from like some other time in space. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, because that's what you're saying. It's connected to the spirit body. I didn't even know that. The cannabinoid system links the physical and the spiritual. That's hella interesting.
It's the,
I didn't even know that.
so the research is endocannabinoid system or network.
Mm.
When you do the research, then it's gonna make sense.
And that has to do with the THC, because the CBD
Well,
strain is
it's not just
beneficial like
the
that.
THC is just it's just the expansive mental component, but your CBDs is equally important,
Mm.
right? That's why it's the whole endocannabinoid system and not just the THC system.
Mm-hmm. Because all the different constituents have their own thing,
Right.
and then when they come
So
together, it has a holistic effect.
yes,
I feel you.
yes, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful, and I'm passionate about that plant. I grow my own. I stopped like going to the store and like buying that garbage, because it really does something to you.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
you could
lot of
feel.
the a lot of the stuff now they spraying chemicals on to attack the ones of us that's in our culture to utilize that to accelerate our spiritual development in the 3D realm.
Yeah, that's a fact. And me personally, I believe I was in one of my visions, I was like a hashashin. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but that's like I don't even have no evidence, but that's just how I feel based on the research that I did. I
You
I
ever
just
hear
feel.
me talk about the Wind Talker channel?
Mm-mm.
The Wind Talker channel is how the chiefs communicate without the aid of devices. It's like telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if there's a frequency that when we ingest the cannabinoids, the THC, the hashish, this frequency is a mind frequency that we all link into. And you just automatically know what to do. And the other chiefs will feed information to support what you're doing to make sure that you do exactly what you're supposed to do on the Wind Talker channel. And they also help you to translate the messages that you get from the animals around you, because certain people have a different totem. If you can tap into the Wind Talker channel, let's say mine is the gorilla and yours is the eagle. Well, the gorilla need to communicate to the eagle. The gorilla can telepathically communicate with the eagle, but it's even faster for me to use the totem influence of you having the eagle totem to telepathically communicate with you in order to get the message throughout the gorilla clan. Because soon as I get it, we all get it.
Mm.
Gorilla Grodd, the telepathic ape.
Mm. And that's what they talk about when somebody's so tapped in, they'll see like the yogis meditating. That's pretty much what you're referring to, just like that other plane.
Well, sometimes when you see the yogis meditating, you are looking at the Akashic records. Because we had to knock on this reality for a long time to flip the infinity loop back into a upward spiral of development. That's why it's been so hard for us to break free. And you
Yeah, the
seeing the
slightly positive, right?
masters, huh?
The slightly positive adjustment, right? You saying?
Well, we knocking on the reality. That means that every person that's in meditation that you're seeing is taking on a different part of reality to explore and to look for the problem, because we didn't know what the problem was, right? It took me a long time to come back because they don't like to see me. They be scared to call me because they call me the destroyer. You're gonna whatever these false information and false guys is, I'm gonna bust that shit in the head. So they always call me as a last resort. And then I haven't been here for a long time. And so now that we come back to tell the story, I can tell them what happened because I was there when they blew it was just like CERN. It was a giant portal open. And when they opened it, they blew an atomic bomb between two dimensions, which caused the fourth dimension to collapse into the third. And this is what gave us the infinity loop. This is why we need sleep. When we had no record of people going to sleep before about 250,000 years ago.
That's a
Now, all of a sudden,
fact.
you can't function if you don't get you some sleep because you're living in two worlds at the same time, and you have to give each world attention, right?
Yeah.
So, in order to push past the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension, you have to unravel that center of the figure eight. And so it'll go from being a figure eight until a cipher, right? That's snapping free the infinity loop. This is what we had to do. And the only way to snap free is at the close of one of the ages. It's called the quantum leap, right? They made a movie called Quantum Leap, or a series where it was about porting into different parts. That's showing you the different masters. Every episode was a different master knocking on a different part of the reality to try to figure it out. When none of them couldn't figure it out, they asked me what happened. I told them they blew that goddamn bomb between them two dimensions. They collapsed on each other, and now they got you living in two dimensions simultaneously, so you can't reach the next one. That was to keep us in what's called perpetual servitude.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's getting into what I was saying before about no sleep, and sleep being like a spell. So can we break that spell by like doing
We
energy
in the process of
cultivation?
actively breaking it now. We actively breaking the spell now. If you pay attention, when you be sleepy, you don't be as sleepy as you used to be 5 years ago.
Nah,
When you get tired, you don't be as fatigued as you did 10 years ago. It's like it
nah,
can
no way,
only, yeah, and you don't have to sleep as long.
no
All of those are
way.
sign of us breaking free.
That's a fact because there would be times where I would go several days without sleep and I wouldn't be tired, and I had people would tell me that my cortisol levels was too high and that it was bad for my body. But at the time I was doing semen retention and major energy cultivation, and that was one of my questions. I was like, if we is doing those types of things where we're circulating the energy and we're performing alchemy on any type of energy, in theory you wouldn't really need to sleep. That but you talking about how it's gonna break automatically. I guess me being real impatient, I wanna force it to happen.
You can't
But we
force it.
can't do that. Okay,
The
perfect.
side effect of forcing is you call what's called a backlash. That
Mm,
make all of the pressure that you push into the front push you back with double the vigor. So you have to learn how to go in steps and take it in stride. Because if you leave it up to me, this shit would have been over with. Because I wanted to hit him with shock and awe 5 years ago, but
mm-hmm.
the masters that are advisors is saying, no, you can't hit them with shock and awe too soon because you'll break their psyche and they won't be able to reconstitute and live in the golden
What's
age.
what's that? Shaka? What is that? What you just said?
I said, break their psyche.
No, no, you said hit them with something. It was
Oh,
Shaka.
shock and awe.
What is
Shock and
that?
awe is shock and awe is immediately lift the veil. Don't fucking gradually lift that motherfucker. Snatch that son bitch
Oh,
off. They was like,
okay.
no,
Yeah.
because you will damage too many people and you will ruin the golden age. It won't be able to serve its true benefit of being a golden age and people being able to live in prosperity because there will be too many psyches that have to be repaired.
So that's getting into another question that I had. Is that why a lot of the people are getting on these ships, and a lot of us may not remember it consciously, but subconsciously we remember it, and the program stays there so that when we are there, like consciously, we won't be tripping as much. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Um, you always get what's called a preparation period. So everybody not going on ships.
But
Contrary to
sometimes I
popular,
see people.
yeah, but look,
Sometimes I see people. So for example, one time I was with a few. It was me and a few of my loved ones. We were on a ship, but it was only two people that was awake. You know what I mean by awake? They had their eyes open, but you could tell they wasn't awake. And the other person, he had sat up. Me and him sat up at the same time, and then the ship like closed on itself. It was like, because I hear people be saying that the ships are living and things like that. Is that like them entities getting us subconsciously ready, or what you could say like our future selves getting us subconsciously ready for that shift?
well, it's more like your subconscious getting your conscious ready.
So that's not like a different higher aspect of ourselves, or the subconscious is
That,
exactly
that
that, you saying?
is your higher self talk to you. That's why the goal is to make your day-to-day mind move from being your conscious to your subconscious, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly. Because we
once you fully aware from a subconscious, you fully aware from your higher self. That's called, first you have to purify your ego.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. And because we living in the dark right now,
Yeah.
and it's a
Hey,
lot that we
Nancy,
don't
I'm gonna
know.
take another caller in.
Okay.
I got quite a few people backed up.
Oh, could I ask one more question, and then
Yep,
I'll be done?
yep.
It's quick. It's just about the Zeta Grays. Can you just tell me about those? Because sometimes I've seen them, and they give me some. They would give me some type of I don't know. They would just stare at me and like look at me. I just want to know what do you think about them Zeta Grays and their energy?
When they take off their spacesuit, they don't look like that.
So how do they look?
That's the first thing. That's the first thing you got to know is when they take off that space suit, they don't look like that. They look like Sign from Africa, Sign Bushman from Africa. But they skinnier.
Oh,
That's the side
okay,
effect of space travel.
okay. And is the reason why they pop up, or they just or or or, or is it just for no reason that they pop up like that?
No, some people got have them as tutors.
Tutors.
Some people have them as tutors. They come in and they telepathically communicate information to you. Some people call them angels and think that they angels giving them messages from God, but that's some crazy shit. Cause you don't need no intercessor and you don't need nobody to be a messenger between you and God. Prime source is directly tied to your higher consciousness. So anybody tell you you need God, an intercessor between you and God is trying to exploit you for something. All you got to do is listen long enough and you will know what they're trying to get out of you. If God got a message for you, God gonna give it to
Okay.
you in the form that you understand and only you understand how God communicate with you. But because they told you that God don't communicate with us without going through somebody else, sometimes God had to use somebody else to talk to you because you don't believe that when God told you it was true.
Mm.
You thought you was hallucinating or some shit. Got it?
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Let me take in another caller now. I don't know how many I'm gonna get in.
All right, much gratitude to you.
Fort, bitch. Here's the fort. How are you?
I'm better, a lot better.
Good, good. I know we were all going through ascension issues. I had some upper back pain right here, right behind my throat chakra. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? But I wanted to tell you that